Another one for the build guide to the cast on crit assassin build that I've been playing. That we did the simulacrum project with. We're doing the fracture maps with. So pretty much, it's done a lot of stuff. I've done over 50 fracture maps with this build, no problem. A couple of deaths here and there, mostly due to me not paying attention. It's an extremely strong build. I'm gonna go over pretty much what I can with this build. There are two ways of playing it. Also, I'll go over both ways of playing. So pretty much, Juju was the person who created the build, and I changed a couple of things around just because I don't like, just to save some skill points around. But the build, I'm gonna give you a heads up, is extremely expensive. I say about 90% of this build is self-crafted with elevated Maven orbs, all that kind of crazy stuff. You don't need that craziness. It's just I wanted to push this build since it was the final build for me this league, so why not push it to see what we can do? So I spent over 900x on this build already. Don't have to spend as much. You don't need the 21, 23 gems, the 620 awakening gems. You don't even need Headhunter for this build. So pretty much it's the corpsey like everyone runs. This one I have the AoE for quality. And it's pretty much, you do have to run this in this order though. So you want Frostbolt, Ice Nova, and Frostbomb, because that's the order that they trigger, whatever top to bottom is. And so pretty much, the usual setup everyone runs. Helmet, mine running the Herald of Ice, reduced mana, just so I can have enough mana to cast everything. And it's pretty much power charge and nearby enemies minus cold res. If you want to go elevated, you can for minus 12. If you don't, just go for minus 9. And it's pretty much just resistance and ES. If you want to help your accuracy a little bit, I recommend probably getting accuracy on here, which is what I wanted to do. I just didn't have everything set up yet to get rid of the chance to avoid elements on the gloves to move one of the resistance on the helmet down to here and cast that on the helmet. I just didn't get that far yet up the build. But it's pretty much just defense ES. Or ES and resistance. And it's pretty much the Frostbite, Vortex, your Awaken, Hex Touch. Needs to be level 5 to get the, can apply 2 curses. And Bone Chill. If you don't have the level 5 Hex Touch, Awaken, you don't need to run the Assassin's Mark on the ring. You can definitely save that slot for now. Pretty much the amulet is the same amulet everyone runs with the assassin version. It's the Prandom, what do you call this thing? Prandom's, I guess, amulet, whatever you call this thing. It's pretty much the amulet that drops from Tool Breachstone that you use the essence on. And I got perfect roll on it just for fun. But pretty much the dexterity is really important. And pretty much the only thing I would recommend is just getting the cold damage up. The resistance doesn't really matter too much. It's just more of that's just there. I go for cold damage over anything. And then just put elemental damage on it so you do more damage. About 6% more damage. And then Tranquility you want just because it gives you 5% increased maximum ES by 5% and Transfiguration, I say this third of soul. Not good with words. In the shield, I bought this shield pre-done. It was a lot cheaper it was a lot easier 52 exalts just to buy it done instead of me trying to craft this myself. So it's pretty much a socket gems, reduced mana. Do you want at least, if you don't have that the reduced mana, you do need an Enlighten. It's just that saves you the Enlighten slot. That's all it pretty much does. And if you run now, you have to switch your gems around. Like you have to put Enlighten probably over here maybe and drop the Righteous Fire probably. Move those 3 gems up to here. Move these down to here. It's a lot playing around if you don't have the reduced mana. And it's pretty much just more block, a lot of ES. Increased stun and block is mainly just for your hybrid. And then recover 5% ES on block is the most important stat on this shield. Because without that, and without the Watcher's Eye I'll show you later, it's really hard to sustain your ES on this build. And then the ring, so you definitely don't need this version with the chance to avoid elements on it. I went with this one just because I wanted to try to get it, so I only had to use these two and drop the gloves. If you don't want to run this is all talking about the other version of the build. If I can find it, yeah. You can run this one with the normal what you would run, the buff effect and more damage. So I'm missing about 52% damage or 50% more damage just because I'm trying to run this version instead. Do I need more damage? No. It's just more for fun. I found a version of this ring with chance to put elements, but it's about 50 to 70 exalts, and I didn't have the money at the time. And if you're going to run that, if you don't run the chance to put elements on the ring, you definitely do need something with elegant form on it. You can do a megalo, you can do the actual small cluster by itself. It's up to you what you want to run. This is why I had this here, because I was running these two as a combo, and so I upgraded to this to save some skill points. And then the other ring is your 2-stone ring, just with resistance, and your assassin's mark, more damage, ES, and then resistance. And then channeling skills cost -3 to mana cost. To make it only cost 1. It's definitely, you do need it, because if you ran 4, you would have no mana the whole time you ran this build. Chest piece, it's pretty much resistance, or pretty much. This one is elevated explode and crit strike attack. You don't need either one. It's just quality of life. That's all it is. You can easily just go with explode, crit strike chance, and then resistance and ES. It definitely be the exact same thing. I forgot to gems on the shield. I forgot. It's hatred. You don't need the quality on hatred. Herald of Ice and discipline. Discipline and hatred don't need quality on them. They do nothing for your build. It just helps out if you play with other people, which no one does with this build pretty much. And here you go. So for the chest piece, it's your usual, the Cyclone, your Awaken cold damage. Get Awaken if you can. Usually Awaken cold is pretty cheap. Hypothermia, it definitely does help. Okay, that's why. So hypothermia is pretty much to go with the cold. It's every version of this build plays. Inspiration for your channeling, your Awaken cock, that everyone pretty much helps a lot. And then Ice Nova to cast with your Cyclone. Because the way that these two work, they cast off different. So Corpsey goes off its own cooldown recovery, own cooldown, breakpoint, whatever you want to call this thing. And then where are you at? Cast on crit does its own. That's why you have Ice Nova here and Ice Nova here. They can be Val, regular, doesn't make a difference. Boots, these are elevated elemental alignments. Avoid elemental and elevated tailwind. Do you need either one? No, it's just I went with I originally had a pair of boots that didn't have the elevated chance to avoid. I just went with that as long as I was trying to do more of the just keep it with these two, so I can drop this. You don't need it whatsoever. And then Tailwind is nice because elevated Tailwind just increase the effects. That's all it does. And then you also want the movement speed and ES. And you do need dexterity somewhere on this build, either on the boots, boots, helmet, ring, gloves, anywhere you can get it. Usually the boots or the gloves will be the easiest to. That's why I just put it on there at the bottom. Headhunter, it's mainly on here just for dex, and the point this build was mainly just 200% Delirium maps. That's the reason why Headhunter's on here, because Headhunter is the best for 100% Delirium. If you're not doing 100% Delirium, you can easily run any other belt that gives you, what's it called? Cooldown recovery rate. I think it's cooldown recovery rate increase percentage. You would run down your belt if you're not running this. ES, resistance, whatever you can get to make it easier going through everything else. Gloves, they're pretty much just a normal, everyone runs Sorcerer's Gloves. 25% chance, or if you can get unnerve enemies and Calling Strike, it's the best. Calling Strike definitely does its quality of life. Every elemental resistance, defense, ES, that's pretty much all the gloves are. And chance to avoid elements. And then pretty much your dash, your second wind, Divergent Arcane Surge is more damage. And the precision, you can do Divergent if you want to just for more damage. But you don't need it. Just get a 20 precision, that's the same thing. Or even a 21. But it's pretty much there to, I I went that version just for more money. I had a currency. I didn't care. 2% more damage. Why not? I forgot to mention on the only 2 enchants you want on the boots is the 80% chance to avoid being stunned if you want to be 100% chance of being stunned if you kill someone, or damage pen. Damage pen is more damage. This one just stun immune. I don't like being stunned, so I went with this one. And this one, I guess Commander of Frost might be the best, but I don't know. I honestly never really use Commander of Frost or know what the Club of Champs do. I just take whatever the game gives me. Trinket don't matter. The Wise Oak, just make sure that your cold is the highest. Bottle Faith, it's Bottle Faith. Crit Strike, Cyndaquil Flask. Diamond Flask for Curse Immune. You can definitely, if you don't have a Corrupted Blood, you can get Corrupted Bleed Immune on here. If you want to get something else on here, you can. There's a lot of options to go with on this one. And then your experimental Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline, just from a movement speed and duration. That's pretty much it with that one. So the skill tree, let's go over this one first. So Lab 1, I went Mistwalker. Lab 2, Lab 3, and Lab 4. Very straightforward. And it's pretty much your normal trees with these when everyone plays. You're going up this way. Dexterity. Over here. For this one, Malicious Fate, the bottom 2 on here never change. It's the only thing that changes on here would be like the High Templar of Dominus. That's the only thing that changes. But the best 2 you can get on here would be AoE damage and elemental damage together. It's extremely rare to find these. I spent almost a week trying to find at least one come online. So I found this one. I think I bought this one for like 30 exalts. If you can't get those 2 together, just get one of them together with like elemental resistance, anything else really that's good. And like the best thing on top, probably like movement speed, if you get that from Harvest. Right now I've just been re-rolling it for a while. And like down here, the usual, get your a Natural Instinct if you can. If you can't get it, it's okay. But pretty much this one just gives you Dexterity, not Cold Pen, not AoE. Gives you movement speed. Gives you some cast speed, accuracy, which is really good, helpful. So the accuracy is definitely the biggest part of this unnatural. More attack speed. It's really good overall. If you can get that natural down here, I'd recommend it. So if you can get the AoE on it and some type of elemental penetration or cold, that'd be more like super late game. If you can't get those, just get it on regular naturals. More just defense. This was my last skill point. I'll talk about this at the end. Talk about it that way. Go up here. I did need the 30 dex here just to use the weapon. So if you need this point, get it. If you don't need it, then skip it. If you're running the and we are CI, so you have to get the CI node here. If you are running the regular ring with the Megalo or the Elegant Form, you do need this cluster jewel here. If you don't want to put it on here, small cluster. So that's why I saved this. That's why I took this off to save the 6 skill points when I had the Megalo on, just so I can put them on more like going around this way with the Thread of Hope. And then pretty much like, your Arcane Swiftness to give you, this is where a 20% chance to avoid being stunned comes from. That's why I have the boots to give me a 100% chance when I kill something. And this gives you also a 20% chance to avoid elements. Ghost Reaver, very good for the build. Power Charge, we're stacking power charges. We have 8 power charges with this build. Leech, ES, a lot of ES on that one. Frozen Trail, you do want with this. Get at least one. You need at least one of them. If you can get Corrupted Blood on there, it's good. You want Corrupted Blood at least on 1 jewel. This is probably the cheapest, to be honest. And if you can get Damage Pen, go for it too. They're not that common to come by. And yep, it's gonna happen. Continue this way around, up to here. This is pretty much just for max block, more block, and more mana. Right here, this is the Thread of Hope. You want a large Thread of Hope with this build because you're pretty much taking Arcane Focus for more ES, Snowforge for more for some resistance, and more damage and crit strike chance. utmost intellect, whatever you call this thing, for more pretty much more intelligence, which is more energy shield and more mana, I believe. And then up here you have your Heart of Ice and Breath of the Rim. These are pretty much Cold Pen, which is extremely strong, and a lot of damage. So I definitely, and also this one gives you Leech. So these are both extremely good. On this side you have more Leech, more ES. It's more damage with your full ES, which you usually are with this build with all the leeching you have. So it's a very good for the build. And that's all that's for. If you need the point down here for more dex, you can definitely take it. I just didn't really need it. And then like this point here, you don't need this point. This was like a level 90, 98. This was level 97. So you definitely just like one of the last things you want to take if you want the more damage. You don't need it. You can definitely, so I'll go for super fast. If I get to level 99, I take this point off and throw it right here. These 2 points. This is much better overall. Like if you don't want the damage, you can definitely put the points here for more ES. This is my next 2 points would go to. My next point will go to actually. Power charge, your power stacking power charges. Right here, I went this way first to get these 3 points for the max for the block, and I picked up these 2 at the end. These 2 skill points right here will give you your full max block. Yeah, so this will give you your full max 75% on both. Without one of them, you're below 75 on spell block. I just want to be full 75 to be for safety reasons, so that's why I went with both points here. I've spent the extra point. Juju that didn't have both points on his, he only had 1, but I went with 2 just to save. And that's one reason why I cut this off completely, just so I can take those 6 skill points I had and put them on like this kind of stuff quicker. And then yeah, so pretty much I think these like your last 2, like level 94, like 95, 6, 7, and down into 8 or so. You just like pretty much go around that route. Depends really what at the point your build's at to where you put those last couple points in. But like right here, like you have to go this way around. It's a lot of ES right here. This one's nice too for more max res and a lot of ES. So it's definitely very good to get these. Power charge, more damage for power charge. Oh, and minimum power charge. You always have 1 out. It's just a lot of damage right here if you go this way. Cluster Jewel. So the best way to get the Cluster Jewel is you want to get Sadis and Blanket Snow on the bottom and anything else on top. I could easily go up here and get Widespread Destruction also for more damage, but I don't need it. The easy way of doing this one, the way I did this, I bought this one with Sadis and Blanket Snow already on it. And I just kept doing keep prefixes, change suffixes, and harvest until I got another, pretty much another, what you want to call it? Another one of these on there, and I just checked every time to see if it was set up this way, and I got lucky on the first one it was. And then both of the medium clusters, one of them is the increased AoE damage with magnified and fast power, and the other one is affect the non-damaging elements with astonishing and cold conduction. Because these ones give you crit strike and AoE damage per power charge, and you have 8 always pretty much up at all times. More damage, chance to shock, and chill. And then pretty much at this point, if you don't have cluster jewels like these, two jewels like these ones, you can definitely put the elegant form up here, just to save you those points, and put 2 points up here to save you 3 points if you don't want to go that route. But both of these are pretty much the exact same as each other. This one's perfect roll. This one's is 1 off still. So pretty much they're triple crit jewels with ES on them. You don't need these. These are stupid expensive. I think I bought each of these for 40x each. And pretty much they're crit strike with spells, cold damage, elemental damage with ES times 2. They're very expensive. They do help out a lot if you can eventually make an upgrade to get to the triple crit. You can always easily start with 1 crit or 2 crit and slowly upgrade from there. They're just more help with your crit chance with this build. Because this build's all about pretty much getting your you want the chance to hit to be 100% chance. Mine's only 93 for some reason. So I've been lazy on this. I don't think it shows you crit. No, crit's more in the POB, but it's like, it's almost at 100% chance crit too. You know, this way, your usual Zealot's Oath. You do want to get this, reduce mana. Power charge again. Then you're pretty much going this way for more resistance. Watcher's Eye. So there's 3 different... Watcher's Eye, you do want to get the energy shield gain on hit. For discipline, that's the most important one. Just because that one alone will pretty much make it so that when you attack something, you're getting ES. When you're blocking, you're getting ES back. So it keeps your ES up at all times. One of your huge defensive layers with the build. And then melee is a huge quality of life. After that, if you can, try to get Damage Pen with Hatred. It's very expensive with those 2 together. Those usually average between 60 to 100 exalts each. If you want those 2 together. And if you can, for a 3rd mod, if you have stupid money, you can get the other discipline. I think it's something about ES with discipline. I forget what it's called. But it has more ES on it. But they're really rare to see. And then continue this way. You're glancing blow for more block. Block, block, block. More block here. Pretty much you're trying to stack. You want to get the max block. It's pretty much the build. Oh yeah. Bandits kill all. And then for me, I went Luaris and Gerthril, I think it's called. If you want to go stun with block, you can definitely go this way for cannot be stunned back to back. If you have defensive route, just go this way then. And I went with this one because more fizz damage is good and reduce. I don't like being killed so fast, and I do die with this build even at this point. It definitely does happen. It's just random one shots. The build's really nice too because it's super lazy. This is all the buttons you need down here. Vortex, this goes off on its own. You're always holding down right click at all times. And then you have Valve Discipline if you ever need it, and it's all dash pretty much. And a Valve Righteous Fire if you ever need it on the boss. That's why the build's so... I like the build, because it's very easy. Just hold down right click and just go. And you can see with holding just right click without anything else, you pretty much regain the mana so fast, you can do it forever. Even holding down these 2 together. I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think what else I could go over. Because next league we're not having Harvest anymore to help with this build crafting. It's going to be a lot harder to craft this build next league, and Harvest is a heads up. Like for this one, I was able to just buy the Assassin's Mark and cold damage dispels already on it and just Harvest craft the rest of it. But it's gonna be you can't do it now. This is going to be hard. This is going to be expensive. Chest piece is going to be expensive next league, especially Explode chest piece for everyone is going to suck on pricing. This one, yeah, it's going to suck because you can't put movement speed. You can't add movement speed anymore. This is going to be tricky if you get shit mod. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to try this one. I will probably try the Templar version next league. It's my league start, I'm thinking. It's one of my 2 ideas for my league start next league, depending on patch notes. But I think that's going to be the version I'm going to go with because I think it's a little bit easier to work with because it doesn't require scaling crit strike chance so much and dex and intelligence. So I'm going to see how that probably goes next league. So I think that's everything. We went over bandits. If you want to forget. POB will be in the description below if I forgot anything, if you want to take a look at anything. When I leveled this build, I didn't level with any of this. I leveled with Hollow Palm. So it's probably a little different if you level with this build. If you level the build, you're probably going to take a little different skill tree. You're not going to probably focus like one over here. I would probably recommend if this is a league start, get 2 Frozen Trails as soon as possible. And just get the Frozen Trail whenever they fit. Probably one's going to be up here. It's hard to test this without taking a drill out, put it in, looking around. But like Frozen Trail, get 2 of those early on. You're not going to see these. You're not going to see this early on. You're not going to go CI early on. You would go more life based. Take all the life nodes like up here. Probably skip this whole bottom half if you need to. You can even go up this way if you need the mana reserve. Mana reserve. Probably go more this way. Get more power charges. Cluster jewels if you can. It's hard to say early on how this build is going to look because I don't know. I only know this build from a endgame version. So if anyone has any question about this build, please put in the description below. You can definitely hit a higher ES also with this build. That's plenty for me. If you don't have the Headhunter on, you can definitely get much higher. You have to get much faster casting off. Because with this build, there are breakpoints to hit. There's 3 breakpoints. I don't understand how it fully works. But there's breakpoints that you want to hit with your attack speed, your cooldown recovery rates, all that kind of stuff. So when you're hitting something, it triggers. You can wait technically an extra couple ticks for the next one to trigger. So that's why you do want to make sure all that kind of stuff works. How it works, I had no idea. The build somehow worked when I played it, so went with it. So if everyone liked the build guide, any questions, please put in comment below. I'll try to answer them. I think I went over everything, but I might have forgot some stuff. I'm pretty sure I have. So if there's anything that you have questions about, put in the description below so other people can see, I might see a question, they can at least see the answer for them. If you want to see any questions, also come follow me on Twitch, where we probably playing this build for another 2 days or so until the 1st. It's my last day of playing this league until we take our break. So if everyone liked the video, I know it's a little bit long. Like to see the subscribe button below. I hope everyone liked the video. Hope to see you on the next one.